Hello everyone, it's me, Riley. Welcome to my emo bitch boy hour. And today we're gonna be taking a deep dive into a band I really love. Their name is Waterparks. I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter, or definitely if you follow me on Instagram, you've heard of Waterparks. You've heard me mention them at least once. They're one of my favorite bands, hence why I have a sticker from their last album on the back of my phone. I'm a very big fan of this band, and today I'm going to review their second album, Entertainment. Now, the reason I decided to go with Entertainment is because Double Dare, their first album, is a lot of people's favorites, and it gets discussed quite a bit. And because Fandom is their newest album, and we're in the Fandom era, people are talking about Fandom quite a bit. But I don't see a lot of discussion surrounding Entertainment. And a lot of people would probably put Entertainment as their worst project, which I just don't agree with. I don't think they've ever put out anything bad. Personally, I think their worst project would be the Blacklight EP. Entertainment is actually my favorite Waterparks album, and we'll get into why in a minute. But I'm a big fan of this album. I actually discovered Waterparks through this album. The year was 2018, a great year for music, and I heard this album for the first time. And I've been listening to Waterparks ever since. It's been almost 2 years since I started listening to this band, which is crazy because it feels like I started listening to them last month, but it's been 2 years. And this album in particular has always been, had a special place in my heart, and its themes and ideas have only grown closer to me the longer I've listened to it, and the more experiences I've had in life, I've started to relate to this album more and more, and the older I've gotten, and especially lately, I've been relating a lot to this album, and I think it's amazing. And Waterparks is known for being a pretty sarcastic band, with Awsten Knight being a generally sarcastic dude, who tends to be pretty sassy a lot of the times, and kind of mischievous, but I love him, honestly, he's the best. He's one of the most charismatic frontmen to come out of rock within the last decade, and I think he kills it on this album as he does every album. And a lot of his writing is really witty and sarcastic. Waterparks mostly focuses on relationships, but they have this bitter, sarcastic view of relationships and the way they write about them. And especially on this album, the main theme is unconditional love of someone, and they have it through that kind of twisted, sarcastic, bitter lens that Waterparks is known for, with also very infectious poppiness to it that makes you want to keep coming back for more and more while listening to this album. Waterparks is considered to be a pop-punk band, and I definitely see that, but I think they're one of the more interesting pop-punk bands to ever come around because, as I mentioned a minute ago, their leanings and their more openness, enthusiasm to that pop side of the pop-punk. This band is very poppy. They love electronics. They love 808 and synthetic percussion, and all this stuff they put into, your regular pop-punk music, and it makes them just so much more interesting than so many other pop-punk bands. And I think that can turn off a lot of traditional rock fans. I think a lot of people, I know Nate the Mate, who's a pretty notable pop-punk YouTuber, really does not like Waterparks. I think that's because of their poppier, more mass-appealing kind of sound, but I think it makes them a lot more interesting than many other bands. They're one of my favorite modern pop-punk bands, coming in right behind the Stories so far. I just think they're really great, and like I said, in this album, especially, they focus a little more on the poppier side of things, and I think it works out really well. I think this band has a knack for really great pop songwriting. So with a lot of the themes of bitter, unconditional love that's hurting Awsten, tied with this just infectious pop and these great guitar riffs and drum lines and stuff, just make you want to keep coming back to this album more and more and more. It's been 2 years, and I listen to it all the time. So, now, the themes of this album are something I kind of want to delve into a bit, because, a lot of people think this is the weakest Waterparks album. Many people think it's very messy. I don't. I think it's rather focused, actually, in the whole thematic scope of Awsten Knight, or I'm just going to call him Awsten Knight. That's the lead singer of the band, so I'm going to take him as the character of this album. Of Awsten Knight falling unconditionally in love with this person, but this person kind of uses them and leads them on, and kind of just messes with him and plays with his feelings, whether it be for attention or because they're bored, or because they want something. that's what this person is doing, and is using Awsten kind of as pretty much a puppet the entire time to just play with him and fill the time. And despite Awsten knowing this, he still cannot get this person out of his head and out of his heart. And it is just a very interesting, I say interesting way too much. It works very well in the style of this band with the whole kind of sarcastic, bitter wittiness that comes with the lyricism throughout this band's career and on this album. Now, a little story time. Let's go back to a time far removed from where we are now, the distant, distant year of 2018. Riley is playing Minecraft with one of his best friends, and he's playing Waterparks Entertainment. Throughout that entire year, when I played Xbox, I had pretty much 2 albums in rotation at that time. One being, of course, Waterparks Entertainment, and Queens of the Stone Age Songs for the Deaf. And I was playing this album a little louder than I probably should have been, and he heard it. And he heard the opening notes to 1111, which is this super mystical, futuristic-sounding synth line. And he goes, "Are you listening to the Illuminati?" And I've always thought of that ever since, so I wanted to share it. And I think it is a good segue into talking about this song musically, because it has those very futuristic-sounding, I just got wicked deja vu. Anyway, futuristic kind of sounding synths that start off the song. And it kind of has that play throughout the entire time. Very well produced, too, to sound clean and futuristic and poppy. And it's great. I love this song musically. Of course, Awsten gives a great performance. The guitars are great, as always. Drums are great. Really just a solid song. And lyrically, it kind of sets up the kind of themes of the album, because it shows how Awsten feels about this girl. And he describes what he thinks about her and the things he likes about her. He says stuff like, "My favorite set of stairs is the one up to your room. You've got me feeling like a walking love song." He's very into this girl, thinking about her all the time. And he says how lucky he is with the line, "I must have caught you from 1111, my lucky number 7. And I think that's cool, because it kind of, I don't want to say panders, because that has a negative connotation to it, but it's something that speaks to, I think, younger generations, and is kind of an anthem for my generation of high school students and stuff, because a lot of our rock music and kind of more emotional pop punk and stuff comes from the 90s and 2000s, and now they're using like lingo and slang of our generation with something like 1111, which I'm sure if you are a teenager who uses Snapchat, you know what 1111 is. And I just think it's nice that he puts that in there to kind of relate our generation more, because we don't have a lot of these anthems. But pretty much, he's setting up how lucky he feels to have this person, that he feels like this is the greatest thing that could ever happen. He is so in love. He's so happy he found this girl. He's so lucky to be with her, when eventually we'll find out that it's not, in the wise words of Smash Mouth, all this glitter is not gold. But, yeah, so basically he just kind of talks about everything he likes about this girl. "Click your heels, I'll take you home. I feel like a played-out love song since when it hurts so bad." You know, kind of how it starts to hurt over time when he realizes what happens, but he still feels very lucky to have found this girl, and how much, how into her he is. I am stumbling over my words, I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much what this song is about, is it sets the stage for the rest of the album, with Awsten saying, "Wow, I really love this person. They're the best. They make me so happy. I'm so lucky to be close with them and have this almost relationship going with them. I can't wait to take the next step." And poor Awsten, that might not necessarily happen, because with the rest of this album, it starts to kind of go downhill a bit. Next is the lead single off this album, the rock banger Blonde. Now, this song, lyrically, looks more within Awsten himself and his own flaws, and kind of makes it clear why he's fallen so unconditionally in love with this person who has sweet-talked him and made him feel so lucky. And it's because he has trouble loving himself, which is something I'm sure we've all been through at least once in our lives. And that's kind of what he talks about, how he has sometimes no motivation and he gets really sad. He has the lines, haven't been home in some months, I haven't loved myself, just watching friends online look like they need some help. I never wanted to be thinking this loud, I never asked about when, why, or how. I wanted privacy, routine, and everything between, kind of talking about how he just isn't necessarily mentally the most healthy person, who doesn't always do the best things and take care of himself the way he should. How when he gets sad, he does wild things, like, oh, I'm sad, I'll dye my hair. Like the line, I go blonde when I'm sad, blew the motivation I had, and all this stuff he does. I think the blondes are done with fun, we're all too cool for fun, kind of how when he gets down like this, he doesn't take care of himself, and he ends up getting hurt even more, because he ends up, falling in love and not having fun with the things he should be having fun, and pretty much, like I said, it's about him not taking care of himself. And as a song, musically, once again, like I said, it's a banger. The guitars are great. I absolutely love the hook. Like I said, the pop infection on this album is crazy. And the hook, at least it's all about you, I'm not going to finish it, but is great. I think it's worth coming back every time. The drums on this song are amazing. And I think the guitar riffs on the hook, or on the choruses, are verses. On the verses, I should really script these videos. I'll get to that one day. It's great. The verses are great, and the guitar really propels it forward. I really enjoy this song quite a bit. A great lead single, personally, and a good kind of look within himself to kind of set up why the things are happening in this album are happening. Now, thematically, we start to get a little real with Peach, or Lobotomy, in brackets. This song is pretty much about the thoughts he has with his emotions. God, this review's gonna suck. How he's up all night thinking about this girl. Mind your head, I've lost my mind from thinking about you all the time. Mind your head has lost its sight from thinking about you all the time. This lobotomy has taken all of me. Pretty much the fact that this girl is always on his mind all the time, that he can't think of anything else. And it's kind of starting to destroy him inside. He gets, down and depressed, and he can't sleep. Pardon me, couldn't sleep. I've taken up grinding teeth is one of my favorite lyrics on this album. I think it's very thought-provoking and imaginative. You sit there and think of, staying up all night with these feelings of kind of anger and sadness and kind of depression. You're up all night, and out of stress, you're grinding your teeth, you're so uncomfortable, and you're only hurting yourself more than anything, but you just can't fall asleep and escape these feelings because your mind is racing all the time, which is something that happens even when you're not head over heels in love with somebody, and it can kind of be used in any situation, but it is obviously about an unconditional love, and not being able to stop thinking about this person. And I just think it's very image making. Provokes imagery. That's what I'm trying to say. It provokes a lot of imagery on this song, and I think the poppiness of it really fits in well, because the whistling and the dum-dum-da-dum is super sarcastic, so it sounds like this fun, sweet little pop song, but it's also, so obviously not lyrically, and Awsten sounds like he's, just so over it. And like I said, the sarcasm just fits really well, and I think this is kind of a perfect example of what this band is. Maybe it's a little too poppy for some people, but I really enjoy it. I think the synths are great, and I think on the dum-dum-da-dum parts, there's really, loud, almost, air horn-esque synths sound really great. A lot of the electronics on this album are pretty perfect. The production is honestly really great all over entertainment. back to lyrics once again. Awsten just being so hurt by his situation with this person. You're why I'm sitting here hating myself for needing someone so bad and feeling dumb. And that kind of stuff throughout the entire song really speaks to truth and how I think a lot of people feel sometimes when they're not getting the same thing back from the person they have feelings for. When they're not getting the same thing back, they end up feeling inferior and not good enough, not only for that person, but not for themselves or anyone else. So because this person is using him and not giving him the same emotion and feeling because it's a 60-40 relationship, he's sitting here just so down on himself, hating himself because he feels he's not good enough. And it's all because he wants this person so badly. And I think that the song kind of really brings the whole idea and theme of this album to the forefront. If you really dissect this song and understand it, you can pretty much understand a good majority of the album, because this is really speaking to how these thoughts are affecting him mentally and physically, like I said. Physically, he's not sleeping at night, he's starting to get sick, he's grinding his teeth, doing things that aren't good for him, and mentally, he's starting to hate himself, hate his image, he feels stupid, he feels inferior, and just overall, these are some things I know I felt, and I'm sure many people have felt before. So, just very relatable from Awsten on this end. And this entire album is kind of a mood for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of other people, a lot of Parks fans, because we're all the same. We're all a bunch of obnoxious theater kids, probably. Yeah. Now, this song, We Need to Talk, is the first song on the album that directly addresses the relationship between Awsten and this person, and how he is absolutely in love with her, but she is playing with him and using him as, someone just to give her attention, and to distract her, but not really having any of those feelings back, or ever really even planning on reciprocating any feelings or giving anything back to Awsten. And on it, he says, I really thought you were my four-leaf clover, how he's head over heels in love with this person. He thought he had found someone who would finally love him back. He thought he would found someone who finally thought he was special, and he thought he was so lucky. But he wasn't. He really thought he was lucky, and he says, I really thought that I was lucky. Fuck me. Because he's not. He's found someone worse than anyone who never paid attention to him before, because now the only reason that he's getting any attention is because he's being played with. His emotions, his feelings, like I said, he's being used because this girl is bored and is trying to distract from, like, an ex or something, because it's brought up later, I'm sorry, I didn't go through your phone like he did. So obviously this person that Awsten is courting and is in love with still thinks about their ex quite a bit, and despite them not necessarily probably being the best person if he went through her phone, she's still obsessed with him. And Austin's like, well, then why are you doing this to me? I thought I was lucky, but I guess not. And still, he still cannot get over these feelings for her, because she makes him feel special. She plays with his emotions. And the pre-chorus, I wish you didn't tell me I was special, because now it's far too hard to see through, because you shine brighter than morning, at least I thought you did. Pretty much what Awsten is saying in this is, because you're telling me I'm special, I know it's not true, but you're telling me these things and giving me this hope that it just makes it so hard for me to accept the fact that it's not true. I think the world of you, but when in reality, you don't deserve it. You shouldn't be thought the world of, because you're not who you've made me think you are. And I think that goes pretty great with the poppiness of the song. Actually, the song is extremely poppy, with some super, super heavily affected and electronic and, like, reverbed out guitars, and a lot of synths, and even some kind of very fake-sounding brass throughout the entire song. And a lot of people point to this song as not being great because it is so poppy, but I absolutely love it. I think it's pretty chill. I like a lot of the electronics on it. I think it's just a good song to listen to and lay back and think about and relate to. Also brought up that Awsten is very sweet to this girl. That Awsten has a heart of gold. That he treats this girl amazing. And how he loves everything about her, even the things she hates about herself. And that he is always thinking of her and is always having feelings for her. And he's almost haunted by it. In the line it says, this line's here to make you think of your nose twitch, the one I always loved, but you were so self-conscious. I'm haunted. Which is haunting the fact that he can't get this girl who treats him terribly out of his mind. And that's pretty much the entire gist of the song. Again, goes hand in hand with Peach Lobotomy, as if you understand these two songs, you know what's going on. This girl is treating him awfully, and he still loves everything about her, and he can't handle these feelings. And that's brought up again, the fact that he can't handle these emotions a lot of the time because he can't fix himself. And he's falling head over heels in love and needs this person so badly because he doesn't love himself. And this person sees that, and this person takes advantage of this and takes advantage of these feelings because I guess they just want to have fun. And this is all about this girl playing with Awsten's feelings and making him feel special when in reality he means nothing to her. Now, the next song is not Warriors, and it starts off very poppy like We Need to Talk, but kind of a darker pop vibe with the we tore our phones to shreds, cloaked in synthesizers and kind of 808s and fake drums, until it hits into the chorus, and all of a sudden it turns from a dark pop song to this super sunny and anthemic hook with these crunchy guitars, and it's super fun to sing along to. There's nothing in my system, so I'm feeling what I feel for you. And it's a great anthemic chorus, super fun to listen to and bop out to. And then as it goes into verse 2, the kind of crunchy, rocky, pop-punk guitars continue throughout the song. And honestly, I think this song does a really good job of meshing Waterparks' rockier sounds with the pop tendencies of this band. And because this album is so poppy, a lot of the poppier moments are really emphasized and brought out. And I think this song, like I said, balances really good the rock side and the very poppy side of this album at the same time. And this song isn't necessarily as deep as the last couple of tracks, like We Need to Talk, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. I want to go back to that for a second, because it is probably one of the deepest songs in this album, and one of the more telling of what this album is really about, and one of the ones I relate to quite a bit. I'm a big fan of We Need to Talk. I think it's a pretty great song. And so is Not Warriors, musically. Lyrically, it's just, once again, he really likes this person. And also, you know, it's not like he's doing, like, drugs or alcohol, so there's nothing messing with him. He legitimately has a lot of feelings for this person. My favorite part of the song is near the end, before the last chorus, a little breakdown, where all the synths come in, and it's super kind of dreamy sounding, and Awsten's voice has so many auto effects on it, and it's super auto-tuned and like low, and makes it sound like he's underwater, saying, "I couldn't get much sleep, I found you just in time," repeating that. And I just think it's a really nice little moment where the song is kind of pretty big and anthemic and poppy the entire time, and it gives you that nice little moment of breathing room. It's very chill and very relaxed, and this is kind of brought up in another song later that we'll get to, the entire song, and I think it works really well in this little moment as a little bit of breathing before the last chorus of the song. Next is the track Lucky People. Now, this song, musically, I really don't like. It's a very boring kind of acoustic love song. We've all heard thousands of them. It doesn't do anything necessarily interesting musically. It's Awsten Knight singing with an acoustic guitar. But lyrically, I think it's justified because it fits within the theme of the album. Once again, just pretty much talking about what this girl's doing to him. I'll be your optimistic black hole full of love I can't control. What I get from this is this person goes to him often to talk about problems and such, and kind of, it has all the optimism, but sometimes he doesn't know how to get his feelings out when he's trying to talk to this person and tell her how he feels. He sometimes can't say things the right way. He can't control his love because he doesn't know how to explain himself. And that's me, honestly, because I have always been I'll be honest, I have been very bad with talking about my emotions and getting it out there. And I think that's part of this song. But overall, I think the song kind of sucks. I'm going to be honest. The chorus of Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas to the one I call my missus is absolutely obnoxious, and it plays like 3 or 4 times throughout the song, and by the last time I hear it, I just want to be done. I skip Lucky People pretty much every time I listen to Entertainment, which, like I said, this is my favorite Waterparks album. I love Entertainment. I think it is an amazing album, but I just do not like Lucky People, and I'm sorry if you do. More power to you, honestly, but I would rather get to some of the better tracks in the album, like Rare. Rare being a pretty great song on this album, I'm going to be honest. I love the guitars, and the riff throughout this song just kind of propels the whole thing forward. And also, I think Awsten gives a really good performance on this song. Very, very engaging. And his falsetto on the hook, just hope it's nicer where you... And I'm not going to do it, because I can't hit those notes. But Awsten can, and his falsetto sounds really good on it. And I think that's great. I think he does a really good job kind of doing this and singing this. So like I said earlier, he's a very good frontman. He's very charismatic, and he has a wide range. He can do kind of heavier, louder, more angry, aggressive vocals and can scream, but he can also hit those nice, sweet little falsettos and super poppy anthems as well. And of course, the song lyrically kind of falls into it, about how Awsten is spending his time trying to make this person feel special. I just hope it's nicer where you are, because I only want to lift you up. I guess I never really said enough, because what he's saying is he just wants this person to feel special and feel happy, because he has all these feelings for them. And he wants them to be happy no matter what, even if it's not with him. He wants it just to be nice for them and have them have a nice life because of how he feels about them. But that being said, he still would rather have them be having a nice life with him, saying stuff like, you're my final destination. And I really like the second part of the chorus. My tired thoughts don't take vacation. You float up in conversation. You're my final destination. Just know I think you're rare. Pretty much him once again saying, you're awesome. You're everything I want in a person. You know, I can't stop thinking of you. I can't stop talking about you with my friends. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it makes me really sad. My tired thoughts don't take vacations. And I just think Awsten does a really good job of describing these feelings throughout the entire album. It's very poetic, honestly, how he does it. You really feel for him, and you can really relate to them, especially if you've had feelings like this before. It hits even harder. But I feel like even if you didn't, Awsten does such a good job, A, in the performance, and B, in the lyrics, that you can feel these things through him and kind of understand what he's feeling and what he's going through, even though necessarily, from an outsider's perspective, it doesn't always seem like the rational thing to do. Sometimes you can't help how you feel. And to just kind of sit and listen and understand and hear this from someone else's perspective when you've never necessarily felt that, I think is interesting. And I think he does a really good job of it throughout this entire album, but also mostly on Rare. So yeah. I haven't really brought up kind of the electronics and poppiness of this album as much as I would like to, but the thing is I don't want to sound like a broken record on every song. Wow, the electronics sound flawless. I will just say that for, 10 of the songs. Of course they sound good. It's Waterparks. They've always sounded good. They sound amazing. This album is amazing. The electronics on every one of these songs are great, and they add so much and make them so much more than just your typical pop punk songs because of this huge pop influence, and I'm honestly here for it. Now, Tantrum is a very special song on this album because it really stands out when it's juxtaposed to the rest of it, because this is the only song that does not focus on Awsten's relationships and Awsten's love. This rather focuses on people who have crossed and wronged Awsten outside of relationships. So people in the scene, people like managers, other bands, other celebrities, friends from school, and all that jazz. He goes after them. This song is angry, and you can feel the emotion. Awsten gives one of the most aggressive performances of his life, especially really throughout the entire thing. I resent the party scene with a part of me that's hard to see. I've turned my starry friends to uninspired, lacking symmetry. Pretty much just, yeah, that's the part where he just gets super, aggressive, almost Story So Far-esque, where he's not quite screaming, but very angrily singing, and very intensely singing. And lyrically, once again, it's just very angry and biting and venomous. If I wasn't thin and white with blue hair, would I be here? Maybe if I kill myself, you'll know I'm sincere, So that first part is people kind of like, oh, haters being like, oh, well, if you weren't white and thin and pretty with cool blue hair, you wouldn't be famous. You're not a real rock star. So Awsten's like, fuck you. Maybe if I kill myself, you'll notice, which is kind of toxic, but I mean, whatever. You can tell he's angry. And he says, I'll shave my blue hair, burn the rest of 2 dares, drop from parks, like, fuck it, who cares? Pretty much that he'll get rid of all this stuff and still prove that he can do it on his own, and that he's still Awsten fucking Knight, and he's still a legend, and he's going to go on to be a legend. And even if he gets rid of all the stuff that people perceive to be what's making him popular and famous, his music will stand on its own because he's that cool. Because he is, say it with me now, Awsten fucking Knight. The man's a legend. He's so charismatic. And even when he's angry, you just can't help but be on his side because he has such a good job of portraying his emotions lyrically, and does such a great job of delivering the vocals. Especially at the end of this song, where it just blows up and screaming, just screaming like something you'd hear on a metal track, and he calls out every single person. It's Richard and Clayton and John, shit, Will, yeah, y'all made it. And basically he says, if I see you in person, I'm taking teeth. Saying he's going to beat the shit out of these people if he sees them, because he hates them that much. And I think this is actually a nice little break from the relationship theme stuff, to kind of when that entire album kind of has this very lovesick vibe to it, where you're happy because you're in love, but the themes are very down and sad, and it has this big sarcastic vibe to it because the lovesick happy sound is juxtaposed with the lovesick depressed and anxiety-ridden and lyrics, juxtaposed to make the super sarcastic kind of vibe, and to take a break from that vibe that's built the entire album for the super angry banger of a track is very nice, and I really like Tantrum, and I'm glad Awsten got that all out, and I really hope he felt better after he wrote it. Now, very controversially is the song Crybaby, which a lot of Waterparks fans really do not like. Personally, I think it's the best song on the album. It might be my favorite Waterparks song. It's tied with Easy to Hate and another track from this album that we'll get to. But I think the song is great. It is a dark pop song, one of the darkest pop songs you'll ever hear. It almost reminds me of a gothic new wave song from the 80s, a la The Cure's Love Song. It's super dark with these super moody electronics. and it's so vibey, and it's something that I have vivid memories of listening to, pondering life in bed with my headphones on and just laying back and vibing there to the song, thinking and listening to it and taking it all in. It's an amazing song. It's something you have to listen to for yourself to understand. Lyrically, it's pretty much Awsten as breaking point. This is about how depressed and sad he's become and how tired he's become. Um, Now I'm squinting at life through my sad, sour vision. Your silent sting concretely left my face twisted. Your mess in my chest has me stressed and depressed. Does your eyes miss my name when you check on your texts or not? Pretty much saying what this person is doing to him and how they're playing with him, how they'll act like they're super into them and then start ignoring them, that it hurts them and really messes with them and makes them depressed. But they just can't get over these things. And the repeating on the bridge of nothing good comes from late night thinking, how his mind can't stop running, and how all these feelings are just becoming so heavy and so depressing that he feels like he's going to break. All he wants to do is be invisible with this person, but it'll never happen, and it's doing nothing but hurting him and destroying him on the inside. And it's such a dark song, probably the darkest song this band has ever written, maybe the darkest song this band ever will write, but it's amazing. It's so moody, and the atmosphere and mood and vibe of the song is just, the only word I can think to describe it is dark. It's dark wave. It's amazing, and it's something I just love to listen to, and something I can't stop coming back to. And the other songs in this album I come back to because they're fun and poppy and hooky, and they're so infectious with the way they sound. They make me want to keep coming back and listening to them, the anthem-like songs, the bangers. But this song I come back to for a completely different reason, because of the emotions that resonate within it. It's just something really special, and I think this is a song a band can only ever write once in their career. And this may be the black sheep of the Waterparks discography, but it stands out for being pretty amazing. Honestly, Crybaby is an amazing song. Really, it's something you just have to listen to for yourself to understand. And I mentioned earlier, on one of the earlier songs, Not Warriors, the little breakdown part that was kind of vibey. That's pretty much this entire song, but taken times 10 to the extreme. Awsten's vocals are very low and kind of quiet with these auto-tune effects on them to make them sound dead on the inside, almost. And the entire thing just makes this very dark atmosphere with some arpeggiated synths and just these floating like synthesizers, and it's all electronics. There are no actual instruments on this song. I'm pretty sure they're 808 drums as well, but it just all works so well to make this kind of dark wave song. And it's something that I think, like I said, you just really need to listen to understand how good it is. I don't know what to say, because the song is so good. It's just one of those songs that almost leaves me baffled. And finally, the album ends with Sleep Alone, which is probably the best closing track this band has made. It's another one of my favorite Waterparks songs, probably in the top 3. And I think the song is going to go down in Waterparks canon as legendary and one of their best moments, because it's just a banger of a song and everything comes together so well. The electronics, the guitar, the bass, the drums, everything is perfect on this song, and I think it works really well. And once again, it just kind of caps over everything that happens on this album, talking about how this person uses them when they need something. When this person needs someone to talk to or let off on, she goes to Awsten and lets everything off on Awsten, and doesn't ever really give Awsten anything back in return. But he doesn't ever say anything about it because he's so in love. And he knows it's bad, and he knows it's hurting him, but he does not care because he is committed to this person. My face feels hot and blue when I'm alone with you, pretty much saying, when I'm with you, when I'm talking to you, when you're acting like you like me, it just makes me feel like I'm on top of the world. I don't know how to feel. I feel like I can't feel my face. I'm so happy and so excited. But it's followed by my hands still count on you to let me down, knowing that no matter how good it seems in the moment, in a couple of minutes or in a couple of hours and the next day, she'll be treating him like garbage and doing something terrible to him because she doesn't really care about him. But he doesn't care. He's lonely, and even though she's playing with his feelings, he's okay with it because he would rather be played with than be by himself. So, you can call me on my phone and I'll run to you, pretty much saying if you ever need me, I'll be right there because you mean that much to me. You won't ever have to sleep alone. You know, maybe you'll be trying to pick someone else over me. You know, you'll be more focused on someone else over me. You'll love someone else over me. But you'll know that when they hurt you, I'll always be there for you. And that's pretty much showing that Awsten has a heart of gold. And that it's kind of... I'm sure there's some kind of literary trope, but the great person who is far too good and is far too loving and caring, who gets used and gets abused, but they're just so caring and they have such a good heart and they're such a good person that they're always going to be there for this person, and they're always going to be there for anyone because they care and because they love. They love this person so much, and they love their friends and family so much. And that's Awsten, you know? He's just a great dude. So yeah, that's it. The song is a banger. I love the hook. My face feels hot and blue. My hands still count on you to let me down. Super hooky, super poppy, super infectious. Just a banger. And at the end, where he just goes off and holds out the "When I'm Alone with You" and hits the high notes and is belting the chorus. It's just a beautiful moment and a great way to end off this album. And like I said, Sleep Alone is just the perfect way to cap off this album, and it's going to go down in history. I'm sorry. Probably it's one of their best closing tracks, and it just ties everything up so good and leaves you feeling so fulfilled when you listen to the album. And it does such a good job of closing the album that you're like, damn, I want to listen to Entertainment again. I want to hear all of Awsten's, problems again. I want to hear what he's going through. I want to hear what he has to think about unconditionally loving someone who's not good for you. I want to hear these poppy hooks. I want to hear these beautiful electronics, these great guitar hooks, these great anthemic choruses, Awsten's great vocals and his great deliveries. I want to hear it all over again. And every time you listen to this album from beginning to end, you just want to keep listening to it over and over again because it's just so damn infectious. Every part of it is so well done, lyrically, vocally, constructively. It's all just so perfect. And especially the hooks and the poppiness of it just makes everything so goddamn appealing that you want to keep coming back and back because everything sounds so good. It is such an amazing album, and I think about it all the time, and it does not get enough love in the community. I am feeling a strong 9+, maybe even a 10 on Entertainment. That's it. Maybe one day I'll review the other two Waterparks albums, because they're both very good. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I mention fandom quite a bit, to say the least. But yeah, this has been a long review. I stumbled a lot through the first half of it, so if you made it this far, I kind of organized my thoughts a bit and figured out what I was trying to talk about and trying to get everything out. So yeah, I really like this album. See you all next time.